Okay, so, well, hello again. She's Julie, you already know her. My name is Florencia Frigieri, I work at ADOC. And the idea of this presentation is to talk about ideas for a tool to make for the functional people easier the possibility to contribute to this documentation that we were discussing a lot. So first of all, why do we need documentation is quite what we were talking before, but what we want to help more people around the world to improve their processes, their client processes, and make everything easier. We want them to have a software that helps them in their daily job. So to do that, we need to show the value of our modules. We create modules to help them. And to show the value of those modules, that's why we need to communicate them which problems every module can solve, right? So that is the final goal. So in order to do that, we have the documentation in the modules, in the README files. But what we have now, what we were talking about, we have like 3 lines or 2 lines with a description, which is okay. Sometimes we have some steps in the usage or in the configuration path, but if I am a person that is having a problem with their processes, this is my problem and this is my current context and this is the scenario that I have. So when I check on the READMEs, I know what the module does, but I cannot know if what the module does solves my main problem, yes? So that's why we are working into improve the documentation. But in order to do that, we need more muscle. Yes, I mean, the OCA is composed by the techie people that we already know, the developers, that they are doing a great job creating all those code, all those line of code with changing all the behavior of the software in order to solve a problem. But we also have a lot of functional people that want to solve problems, and that is a lot of untapped potential that we need to use in order to improve this documentation. I mean, they can collaborate in order to help other people. The thing is that to involve functionals, we need to explain them how to improve the READMEs. And we found out that it's really difficult for us if you are not in the development path to collaborate. So during this year, we were evaluating alternatives to try to bring all those muscles to work with us and to improve the documentation and to show the world the value of the OCA contribution. So at the end, we found 3 different alternatives that we are going to explain in these minutes to show you, I mean, what we were working about. We will see some of the discussions that we are having, and then later on at the end, we are going to tell you about the workshops that we are going to have in order to try to explore more these alternatives. So the first alternative is the common way, the one that is already available, which is to create a PR within GitHub in order to change the README file and then let everyone knows what the module does, yes? I mean, this is okay, it is working, but for a functional, you have to have a GitHub account, you know, to understand all the structure about repositories, modules, branch, yeah, and you have to, we will see in the next talk, some skills about you need to start to talk about forks, about the static folder, PRs, etc., etc., etc. The second option is really easy. It consists in to have a wiki within GitHub. In GitHub, you can, I don't know if probably most of you know already, you have a wiki, which is 1 wiki per repository, and you can have like a doc and you can put like titles and subtitles, and it's a document that everyone can enter and do the changes and everything. it's like you would have everything compiled. I mean, you have one wiki per repo, so all the module documentation will be in the same place. It's easy to edit, but it's not that, I mean, for the quality part, it's kind of complex because everyone can enter and change everything.
And you have the information, so the README, it's at two places, in the README and in the wiki. That was one downside that we didn't like, to have the documentation in two different places.
Exactly. And then we came up with a third option that is quite complex.
No.
Because we asked to the community if everyone can think about a solution to make functionals life easier to change README, because we have the first option with the PR and within GitHub and everything, but for people that is not developer, I can assure you that it's really hard. So we asked the community if everyone can came up with a solution, and Jairo, which is going to be in a workshop in the afternoon, came up with this idea about using a CMS and an SSG in order to help functionals to change the documentation in GitHub. And then we also have a cool website in order to check all the modules that you have, check what the modules can be used for, and also maybe in a way we were even talking about replace the shop. Do you know in the website, the OCA/shop, when you can check all the modules? Probably most of the people is not using it because, well, maybe you like it, but it's easier to find modules.
It's really nice.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It is nice, but to find things, maybe it's easier using the, no, okay, sorry. I thought that maybe you did it and I was hurting your feelings.
He's joking.
Okay, but the thing is that probably it's easier to understand the repo logic within GitHub and looking for modules there. So the idea, what Jairo was proposing, is that here we are the functionals, so we are like minions trying to change the documentation. So maybe we can go with the current way, and devs can still use that way. They can make the PR to improve the documentation only, not only the behaviors. And they can make the PR, and then they will change GitHub. But there is another tool that could be easier for functionals, in which we can use a CMS. In this case, Jairo was proposing Decap. Maybe some of you are developers. Jairo is here.
We're talking about you.
You are just on time. So he proposed Decap in particular. So it's an interface that could be really more easier for us. It's like you go to like a website and you change the documentation there. And through automations, we can make a connection. And the Decap can make a PR. The PR goes to GitHub. Everything gets all together within GitHub. And then using the CI process, we can create a cool website for everyone to use and to know the models, the modules we have, to use it, and to collaborate even more to solve everyone in the world problems, right? So as a summary, of course, we try to put all the alternatives together and to evaluate pros and cons for every alternative. And as you can see here, these are the different aspects, thank you, that we evaluated. So first of all, the implementation. I mean, creating a PR in GitHub is already available. It's there, all the devs can use it, the functionals. You can use it, because you will see that Julie is going to teach me in the next talk, and I am going to be able to do it. But if yeah, but if you are not related, you do not have a Julie in your life, it's really hard. Then the wiki in GitHub is already available. You need to activate it per repository, so that aspect will be okay. And the CMS and the SSG, the static site, you need a developer, right?
Yeah.
So
it's not already in place.
exactly. Regarding to cost, we know that the others that does not have any cost, but to the new alternative, you need a developer to put in place and to configure everything, the flows within the CMS and GitHub, and also put in place the website. Regarding maintenance, the thing about the PR within GitHub is that right now we depend on maintainers, right? So maybe you can put a PR to change a README, but you need a maintainer, or someone was talking about that before. You need a maintainer to review it and to merge it. And well, GitHub, the wiki, you don't have anything. It's risky, but you do the changes and everyone can see them. And the CMS, well, apparently, according to Jairo, it's easier to maintain. And I believe I trust him a lot. He's a really good dev, but well, we haven't put that in place to know at the end what we need. Well, then the information risk, both the PR within GitHub or also the new option with the CMS are really are good at that, because as I mentioned before, the last alternative is using at the end the PRs and all the logic within GitHub and all the, I know, the CLA and everything. But for the wiki, everyone can enter to change. And if you were working with two screens and then you delete something in another screen, at the end you ended deleting the wiki information in the OCA repository, so that can be risky. Regarding usability, the PR within GitHub is not that easy. That's why we keep having all these conversations. The wiki is really easy. Everyone can maintain it. But you need to have a GitHub account, and you have to understand the repository logic. That's not minor. And the CMS seems easier. So that's why we want to explore the idea. And also regarding usability, not only for the people that want to collaborate, but also once you have everything in place for the people that want to find a module or want to solve a problem. Well, as you know, the searching, you can do some search in GitHub. Personally, for me, it's really hard, but you can do it. The wiki, you can do it, but you also have to know about repositories, as I mentioned before. And for the SSG and the CMS, we believe that this option, because at the end of the day, you get a really nice website, maybe you can work that in not only the order of the documentation, but also with the translations, because some sites can help with the translation for everyone and the search and everything. So maybe at the end of the day, we do not have an easy way to change the documentation, but also a really powerful tool to look for documentation, to search, and to let everyone use all the OCA module and perceive the value that we are adding in the community.
So promote OCA modules.
Exactly.
It could be really easy.
So what we have this afternoon? First, at 3 p.m., we will having 2 workshops that are going to be at the same time. You will have one with Julie, which will help you to write new documentations with the old way, I mean with the PRs and everything. So if you want to collaborate, this is the time. Maybe we are a lot of people. I mean, in 2 hours, we can improve a lot of the documentation on the OCA. So please join her at 3 p.m. And then we will have another workshop with Jairo to make an MVP about this third alternative in order to see what we can get, and then evaluate if we, within the OCA, we want to still end the development of this new tool to help functionals to collaborate, and also to help the people to know about the OCA modules. So that would be all. I think that maybe, I don't know if anyone has any questions. Yes, you like the website, the current shop, sorry.
No, it's for the streaming.
Oh, it's for the streaming. Yeah.
So are you planning to do this on every repository, or are you going to centralize it? Because I see a big issue with that, because we move modules, we move repositories, and
Yes.
it's going to be hard to keep in sync the modules and their documentations. And
Yes.
another thing is, if you consider that if you write the documentation for the module outside, then you don't have it in the module itself, so in the README, what are you planning to do to keep the link?
Great. Well, for the second question regarding, I mean, you mean the cell alternative about the CMS and yeah, and SSG. So that will be everything in the GitHub, like the old way. I mean, because the CMS will connect to GitHub, will make a PR, and we plan to use open authoring in order to change the README file within the module. So that would not be a problem. The first thing that you mentioned about repositories and mainly branch is like what we need to see how we are going to do it is the main, ¿cómo se dice? Difficulty, no, but
yeah.
the main thing that we need to evaluate how to do it.
Okay, thank you.
And you know, when we talk about this idea of using a CMS and a SSG, you know, the SSG is static site generator. It's the cool website. Yeah, it was the idea that, okay, do we have one website that shows the modules per repository? Or do we have one place where all the modules are displayed? So this is part of the reflection we need to have this afternoon. So if some developers can come and give their ideas, they are really welcome. Can we pass the microphone? Okay, you have it.
Yes, after the ban of the OCA App Store, I need to ask this question actually, yeah. Because why do we need another website? Because we have an App Store, yes, the OCA App Store, and basically I would say it's, as for me, it's underestimated. So we already have a tool which can generate the documentation, which can really be used for the same goal. And from what I see right now, and we already talked about that with Simone before, why not to improve the App Store? Because people are coming there, you know?
No.
Very important that it's already indexed, it's there, and for non-technical people, and especially for people who are even not developers, even near, they Google for some modules, yes, and they see the App Store, and they see App Store, and then they also see OCA App Store, yes? So if you have an App Store, why not to use it?
Great. That's a great question. I totally agree. I mean, the main idea of all this was not to change that shop, was to make a tool easier for functionals to change the documentation. But then, at the end, we evaluate that the idea came up, okay, but this new site maybe can be used for that. And maybe we can compare tools. For example, I was talking about translations, maybe the search and everything. Maybe one way could be improve the current page, but the main problem was not to change that shop. That was another thing that came up at the end, was to make a way easier for functionals to change the documentation.
Just a follow-up. So for me as a user, not even a functional, if I go and find some model, it's nice, documentation is nice. The next section, I want to download. So it would be great to have a button that when I click,
Sure.
I can download.
Well, we need to think about the customer journey within the website, totally. But just for you to know, it was not the main problem. The main problem is how to make collaborate within the OCA, but that's a great point.
Yeah, so as you had been speaking, I had been asking myself more and more one question that seems to be quite simple in the first mind. What Odoo is strong at is identifying everything that is in there. So every UI element is clearly identifiable, and that's even automated. So why don't we have a tool like a module itself that helps us document modules? Like that's scanning what a module is providing, and yeah, pretty much presets some kind of a blanket that you just have to fill in the gaps, what this button is used for actually, and why should I use it, and then on the other hand, you get out maybe a kind of standardized documentation where you can at a glance see what this module actually does.
I don't know if I got it from you. Okay, the idea, I mean, maybe you say that automate, like using AI in order to complete, no. Ah, yeah, sure.
We already have it. We already have a template for the documentation. The README is structured in a way that you have a different file you have to just complete. And we will be presenting in the next talk this structure and what information goes where. So maybe it will answer some of your questions, or it will meet your idea.
Maybe a comment about the comparison. I really like the wiki option because of the simplicity and it will be really easy for functionals to contribute there. But maybe there is a missing a missing point about the resistance of the community about doing such a volatile way to document. I don't know if you have already talked to the board or to the technicals, and what's their opinion about it.
Well, when we approached, this idea was one of the first ideas we had last year. And when we talked about it, the main problem was, okay, so now you want to have documentation, modules documentation in two places. So in the wiki and in the README. And that was the main downside of it. So that's why we didn't go for this option. And also, like Flor said, it's not, anybody can write anything and delete anything. So it was like, we were not sure about that.
But is it still an option, or it's discarded because of those?
It's not, no, we rejected this idea last year, and we re-evaluated this year because we wanted to be sure that this was not a possibility. Yeah.
It is an alternative, then we can say no, but the alternative is 6.
Any more questions, comments?
I just wanted to comment on the idea of improving the App Store. I think this idea is a still valid one, of course. There are technical difficulties with that, is that currently it's based on synchronization between Odoo and GitHub, or basically Odoo has a bunch of crons that are pulling data from GitHub to generate the App Store. And the other thing is that the quality of the search is really poor, performance is catastrophic, and so on. So I think it's of course still open as an option, and it's not incompatible with the third option. I mean, the cool website could be that, of course. My intuition is that it would be easier maybe to scrap the App Store and generate a static site in CI from GitHub. Whenever you merge something, the CI triggers and pushes the README basically to a static site. That would be easier to index and simply maintain the current architecture of the App Store. But yeah, both options are valid, of course. And honestly, I don't know which one would require more work.
Thank you, Stefan.
just a couple of comments. I'm absolutely on your side, and I totally agree. So I'm not talking from the technical point of view, although I'm a little bit technical, yes? So what we need to do, I say the future of the OCA is more, let's say, human-friendly OCA, let's say it so, yes? So I really love this idea of the static site, and for me there is no difference. I'm a user, sorry, I just Googling, yes? If I have a button download there, I'm happy with that. I don't care if it's an app store or a static site, I don't care. I just want to do all the things really simple. I will say we are entering the era of the alternative app stores. Right now, you know, we have an era of the alternative clouds. Now we are coming to the era of the alternative app stores. They start appearing already, yes? But the problem is that they are not so trusted. What OCA has, it has quality, yes? It has trust. And we need to use our advantage to promote ourselves, yes? So basically, if you have a static website, if it's indexed, and if I have a download button, or if I have, let's go further, if I have a module which I can install in my Odoo and then install all the OCA modules automatically, so I'm typing there, I'm getting the OCA module, that would be perfect. That's my opinion, okay? Regarding AI, there is a project. I probably, Virginia, you remember during the talk, yes, I shared the link. So some guy, sorry, I forgot his name. A couple of years ago, what did he do? He created a plugin for OpenAI. And then you type, okay, I need a module which, I don't know, reverts beacons. And then it searches the OCA add-ons, and it really does the job. It's really cool. But he just abandoned that project. It was just a POC. So why not to, reuse it? It's really cool. So it allows you to give a simple question and get a simple response. So it shows quite relevant searches, but of course 2 years ago, yes, they are not relevant any longer. That's my ideas, that is.
Okay, one last question.
Yes, maybe another area of discussion regarding the automation of documentation, and maybe joining the question just before. I was wondering if there is any areas of improvement, like helping to generate documentations of modules directly from the code. For instance, when you read the official Odoo documentation, I think it is some part of it actually in the code of Odoo. Like when you write some methods, some functions in Python, you can, I think it's called code string, you can describes what the methods do, and it's directly extracted, I think, from the code, and it generates some documentation on the official Odoo documentation. So maybe another different topic than where to start the documentation, but it could also help joining the technical guys with the functional guys and help writing documentations. But maybe there is some ideas of tooling here. I don't know if it's difficult or no, I don't know. But like yes, when you're writing code, you say what the code does, and it generates documentation, and it's great. I think it could also be great. But yeah, just an idea.
Well, you can use this one.
No, just because
Okay.
to give the picture to sorry, no, just a sec. For people that maybe are new and maybe don't know the size of the OCA, I mean, we have more than 200 repositories, more than 5,000 modules across all the versions. And so the issue is not about, yeah, let's get automated documentation out of it. It's write the documentation, and that's why they want to solve this, make it simple. You can learn Markdown and RST, maybe? Besides that, it's really hard to keep everything up to date. I mean, we can start writing documentation right now. All of us are going to write tons of documentation. In 1 month, it's going to be outdated if we don't keep it updated. So that's, I mean, we have two problems. Functional people, technically we can do a lot of things, website, not website, tools, AI. For that, we need the workforce. So it's also a lack of people that could implement that. So all the suggestions are good, but then we need to make it happen. And so from my point of view, personal point of view, I think we have to choose what gives us the best result, and well, not the best result, the most effective result. So attracting more people, making it easier for functional, stuff like that, in the easy way, without adding tons of tools that then we will have to maintain and to keep update, okay? So we have to find the right balance between all the things.
Yes, and to add to that, at the end, is that maybe you can add information about this line of code, what it's doing, but we kind of have that information in the usage. You have some steps. The idea from the functional perspective is also to add, okay, you are having this problem in the shop floor. I'm missing components and this point of use because da-da-da. And that is the context that we expect that the functionals add also within the documentation. Not only what the module does, like steps within Odoo. That is the main contribution, I think, that we as a functionals can give to the community. And you cannot get that. Maybe you can put all the module within ChatGPT and you get some information that you can put in the README, but that use case, and at least for now, ChatGPT cannot give. So that would be all.
Yes.
For now. Now sorry, but you have to continue seeing these two faces because we are moving to the next talk. So give us 1 second to put everything together, and we.
This is the step-by-step GitHub?
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you. So the next one is going to be 60 minutes because it's going to be a demo of how you can contribute. So we want to teach you how to do it in GitHub so you can come to the workshop in the afternoon and do it with us.
And just to add, there are some tips that she's going to say that maybe you are a dev, but you do not know about documentation.